This conference will now be recorded.
Ah,
as advisor for Ayurveda to Government of India, also served as Vice Chancellor of Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. Also served as Dean Faculty of Ayurveda, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, Nasik. Few nominations are: he is member of Academic Council MUHS Nasik, member of ITRA Jamnagar, Gujarat, former member of Management Council MUHS Nasik. He is former chairman of scientific body Pharmacopoeia Commission of Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, Government of India. Also former member of Ayurvedic Pharmacopoeia Committee, Government of India, New Delhi. He is bestowed with few awards and honors. Few are: he is recipient of Wardekar Award for Social Work and Research in Medicine, Sundarlal Joshi Award for Outstanding Performance in Administration in the field of Ayurveda. He is recipient of Vaidya D. V. Shende Rasaushadhi Award 1997. He is award honored with Pranacharya degree by Shri Indraprastha Vaidya Sabha, Delhi. Few felicitations are: Sanmana Patra by Ayurved Vyasapith, Maharashtra. Few foreign assignments like he has been deputed to represent Government of India at Port of Spain, Trinidad in September 2002. Also participated WHO consultation on phytotherapy as WHO invitee expert on Ayurveda in 2006. He has authored some books like Commentary on Rasachandanchu, a Ayurvedic classic, Vaidyakiya Sankhiki Shastra, Sharangdar Samhita, Ayurveda, Foundation of Healthy Life. Currently, he is writing Charu Chandrika, English commentary, which is under print. With this brief introduction, I request Sir to start his session on pharmacodynamics of metal-based drugs with reference to Bhasma formulation. Thank you. Sir, please start.
हॅलो हा चिन्मय. बरं माझा आवाज ऐकू येतो का माझ्या स्वतःला? येतोय. ओके ठीक आहे. मी माझा व्हिडिओ बंद करतो. हा ओके ओके. Good afternoon, friends. I'm sorry there is some technical problems there. I can't listen to any of your voice. Anyway, I'm told that I am audible to you. That is most important. So, if there is a problem from your side that if you are not able to listen to me, please let me know that I am not audible. Okay, let us see. Uh, so, the topic which I have been given, I'm asked to talk on is pharmacodynamics of metal drugs with special reference to plasma formulations. Actually, I was asked to speak on the Dhatu Gamitva of the Bhasma Kalpana. That's what I was asked to speak. But purposefully, I have chosen this particular topic, such as pharmacodynamics of metal-based drug, with special interest to Bhasma formulations. We all should remember that any drug, anything which you consume, a human body or a living body, will say, consume, it will be, it will act as it has been as per its own structure or what we say its composition, etc., etc. It doesn't matter whether it's an Ayurvedic drug or an allopathic drug or a homeopathic drug, whatever it is, because the body doesn't recognize any particular thing as an Ayurvedic or allopathic or homeopathic like that. Body is going to react the same way it will receive that particular material as an entity. It may be a panchabhutic entity, it may be a chemical entity, it may be an organic complex, whatever it is. So it is going to react in the same way. The body mechanism is the only thing is that understanding how we understand the action of the body, that makes the difference whether it's a Ayurvedic concept, whether it's a modern medicine concept, or whatever it is, whatever you call. So body recognize a particular, so let us for particular this particular lecture will see that body recognize the material as a chemical chemical substance, chemical material. So dhatu bhasma or any bhasma for that matter is a chemical formulation, chemical composition, chemical compound. Now this compound when it enters inside the body, it will react with a specific way. How does this react? Let us see. I will correlate all these matters, even though from the point of Ayurveda view, the point of the chemistry, or for that matter, for the point of the modern pharmacology. When we say pharmacodynamics, as far as Ayurveda is concerned, we always consider the drugs act, mechanism of action. How we always say that there is a rasa panchak, concept of rasa panchak is there. The substance, material acts according to rasa panchak. Rasa virya vipaka guna kinchit rasena viryena pakena kinchana. Like that, kinchit guna pakena pavana kinchana. Like that, we know that. You all know that. So accordingly it acts. So it is said, or it is explained, I will say, that the drugs act in accordance with its Rasapanchak. So, however, the Rasapanchak also ultimately is going to act on the body itself. So, how do they act? Let us see. The first important thing is that, see, there are two branches of pharmacology: the pharmacodynamics and the pharmacology. It's a very simple way to understand. When we think about pharmacology of a drug, what we think of two things. One is pharmacodynamics and another is pharmacokinetics. Dynamics and kinetics. Now, what is dynamics and what is kinetics? Pharmacodynamics is the action of the drug on the body. How the drug is going to act on the body, that is what we recognize as pharmacodynamics. What is kinetics? Pharmacokinetics, the effect of body on the drug. That means first the drug acts on the body, similarly the body also acts on the drug. So what we say, the rasa virya vipak are of the drug. Now vipak, ras is purchased by the particular drug. Whereas the vipak is the reaction of the body on the drug, because body takes the drug, digests it, and produces something which is known as vipak. That is what it is. So these dynamics and kinetics are totally mixed together in Ayurveda. So today we will not be talking about kinetics. We will not talking what is the effect of body on the drug. We are not concerned about what happens to the drug. We are concerned about what happens to the body because of the consumption of the drug. That is what more important to us. Of course, firstly the body acts on the drug is taken by the body, and then drug starts acting with the body. So that is what is important. So effect of drug on the body is more important for us, rather than the effect of body on the drug. So today we will be seeing the action of drug on the body. So now let us see how it happens. See, before that, because today's lecture is on the bhasma formulations, we have to first understand what is bhasma. What are bhasmas? We always say bhasmas are very important. Their rasatratya, their substances are very important. They act instantly. They are more effective than the plant drugs. That's what number of things are said about the substances. Instantly reacting, very small doses, alpaushidi, alpamato taruche pasangataha, chipram arabhya diet path, etc., etc., etc. So many things are said about this. So in that context, what is bhasma? Bhasma is one of the drug dosage forms, because the materials, that particularly the organic materials, are consumed in different forms. It may be consumed in its natural forms, in the simple powder form, considered the bhasma form is considered with the what we say, the sattva form. Number of things are there. So here we are talking about bhasma. Why? What is bhasma actually? Bhasma is defined differently. Bhasma seems simple to us. We all say, what is bhasma? Bhasma is ash. Simple terms. Direct translation of bhasma, English translation will say, what is bhasma? Bhasma is ash. Now, whether it is ash, one way we say it is a mrita loha. Another term is mrita. What is mrita loha actually? So then what is the bhasma is defined very nice. We are not concerned about the other definition of bhasma. We are concerned, see, whenever we talk about a material, particularly when firstly, we are Vaidya, we are physicians, we are doctors, we are treating the patient. So we always look at anything in the light of treatment of a person, treatment of a patient. So in the context of patient, in the context of the disease, we always consider any material. So what is bhasma in the context of patient or a disease? That is most important. That definition is most important. So Rasarasam defines, even Ayurveda Prakar defines Bhasma as mritani lohani rasi bhavanti nigranti yuktani mahamayosha abhyasa yoga durdeh siddhi uvantiru zarabinasham. That is what Bhasma. I'm sorry, this show and so is the problem of the font problem. It's actually it should be different show, not show. So here, Mritani Lohane, what is it? The Loha, in this context, Loha, we will say any inorganic material, we will say. Even though Loha means metals. Broadly, Loha means metals. But in the larger context, Loha means any inorganic material, in fact, which is very hard in consistency in that its natural form. It is not consumable. It cannot be congested because of this very hard material. So that's why the hardness needs to be removed. It is to be made very soft. So for that, we mritani lohani. Mritani, that means we kill that particular material. What is mritani? Mrit means killed. So mritani means killed. Killed. What is the context of killed? Killed means the natural form is removed. In fact, in chemistry it is said, no material is destructible. Nothing is destroyed. In the universe, the material exists in one or the other. Only the form changes. Only the form changes. Not the material completely doesn't disappear. It will remain in another form. It may be its form will change. It may not the same form. That's why in this Mrita Loha, the term is used in context of change in the form. Change is its natural form. Now, what form it acquires? It acquires the form. There is Rasi Bhavan. Mritani Lohani Rasi Bhavanti. That means after killing that material or after Bhasmikaran, we say, after Bhasmikaran, what happens? There is a Rasi Bhavan of the material. What is Rasi Bhavan? We will come to that later on. So, first object of making Bhasma from a material is its Rasi Bhavan. And after making Rasi Bhavan, what happens? It then becomes eligible to act as an anti-disease. Nikranti Yuktari Mahamaya. That means it is able to act against any disease. It is able to alleviate many big diseases, mega diseases, kind of Mahamaya also, mega diseases. And another side, Abhyasa Yoga, that means if you take continuously, it will also help to build on your body, building the body mark. Abhyasa Yoga, Drudadeha Siddhi, Deha Siddhi, Drudadeha, that means it hardens your body. The endurance of the body is increased multiple. Mass of the body is increased. And on the other side, it removes it is able to alleviate the disease, it will be able to remove the geriatric problems, all these things. So that is what. So the contact Rasi Bhavan. Rasi Bhavan is most important. So Rasi Bhavan means Rasi Bhavan is, I know there is some problem regarding the audio. So I will come very close to the computer so that we will be able to, what I will say, I will close my video so that the audio will be more visible. I think it's, I hope now I am more audible. I have come very close to the computer. So we are talking about the Rasi Bhavan. The Rasi Bhavan, what is Rasi Bhavan? Rasi Bhavanti Lohani Mrutani Survandite. The same thing again and again. And it is a Rasi Bhavan of the material. So one thing is most important, that after making the bhasma, the material, there is a rasi bhavan of that material. Another thing, what happens? After making bhasma, kutat, ragat, laghutvam cha, shigra vyaptishcha deepanam. The material, after making bhasmikaran, what happens? After bhasmikaran, the color of the material changes. Ragat means ranjan, darkens. Laghutva, it becomes laghu, very light for digestion. Shigra vyaptis, it spreads in the body very quickly. Shigra vyaptishcha deepanam. And deepen, it's able to increase the digestivity of the particular material. Now, let us see some other characteristics also. Another is because the bhasma, what happens? Rauksham, Saukshmam, Jalaplavaha, Shoda Varna Sabhava. I'm just explaining you what happens after the bhasmikaran. Let us understand first that. And later on, we will say how all these characteristics um, have an effect on the action of that drug. That is why I have explained this thing. So, how does it happen? Rauksham, Saukshmam, Jalaplava, Shodavarna, Samudbhava. The material becomes very dry, Rauksha. It becomes very fine. Fineness, what is it? Saukshmam, fineness. And that fineness is so fine that it is able to penetrate the micro apertures of the body. The farthest part of the minutest part of the body can be reached because of this bhasma. That's why we say Saukshma. Jala plavaha, it floats on the water. Shoda varna, rakta varna, you know that. That they are explaining the effects of putta, the effects of bhasmikaran, the putta. So it becomes very different types of characteristics are produced inside the bhasma on account of the putta after it. They say as if we increase the number of puttas, the characteristics, the actions of the putta also increases many-fold. Two of my students are working on this particular concept that putta dashadustu shatantaha satputo vajinashari shatadustasanta puto. That means if we increase the number of puttas, the action of the dravya will also increase many-fold. 100 times or 1,000 times it will increase. So on this concept, two of my students are working. One student is working on the hepatoprotective, the effect of the number of puttas on the hepatoprotective sambar vessel. Another student is working in a PhD study. Another student is working on the effect of the increased number of puttas on the cardioprotective activity sambar. So those are the two different topics. I want to just tell you that the number of puttas are very very important for us in this context. So partial dipana also there. And another thing, now let us come to different terminology which are used in this as an effect of the puttas or bhasmikaran. The first term is rasi bhavan. Now, what is rasi bhavan? This term is often used whenever you talk about the bhasma. There is a rasi bhavan of the material. Now, what is the rasi bhavan of the material? Rasi bhavan is enhancement of the bioavailability of the bhasma. Rasi bhavan is not that it becomes very similar to the paras or mercury. No, it's not. Rasi bhavan it enters in the rasa of the body. Ras means the body fluids. It increases the rasa dhatu or rasa, ahar, rasa, etc. The nutrient fluid. It minerals in that nutrient fluid in the rasa of the rasa dhatu of the body, and it spreads very easily inside the body. It's all that's why because of that the bioavailability of the bhasma, the material, is increased many folds. What is bioavailability? Well, the part of the bhasma or the amount of drug which is available to the body for producing a pharmacological action, that is known as bioavailability. The amount of drug, quantity of the drug which is available to the body cells, the body for producing an action is known as bioavailability. The more the spreads in the body, the more we reach bioavailability. So that is one. So this is rasi bhavan. That means one of the action of the bhasma is to increase the bioavailability of that particular material. So that is rasi bhavan. This is the concept of rasi bhavan. Another important part is shigra vyapti, which is also very closely related to the rasi bhavan. Shigra vyapti, they support it. The terminology support each other. Shigra vyapti, instant distribution within the body tissues. That means the plasma as soon as it is taken inside the body, It instantly distributed all over the body, to every cell of the body, wherever it is required. It is distributed. So it spreads all over the body. And the third action, which is actually because of the plasma, is deepen. Deepen is the activation of the drug metabolism. So in short, this is the Ayurvedic pharmacodynamics of the plasma. These three things are, of course, another material wise, that the Tamra will have different action, Loha will have different action. But in generally, these three actions are specific to each and every Basma. They are just generalized, not specific, generalized for each and every Basma. That every Basma will have a receiver, every Basma will be Shigra, every Basma will create a deeper level. So these are the generalized effects of Basma, of any material which you are preparing. This is the concept. Now, another thing, as I said, physically also, what is Basma? Basma is an insulated material. That means a burnt material. Insulation is burning. You are burning that material, producing ash. It is an ash. It is an incinerated material. This is the physics. Physically, it is insulated material. Now, what happens regarding its chemical constitution? What happens to chemistry of that particular material? Usually, whenever you are preparing a Basma, usually oxides or sulfides or sulfates of that particular material are produced. For example, you are preparing Tamra Bhasma. What will happen after preparation of Tamra Bhasma? Tamra Bhasma will have either copper sulfide, copper sulfate, copper oxide, cuprous oxide, cupric sulfate, copper sulfate, cuprous sulfate. Like that, usually this happens whenever you are preparing a Bhasma. So oxidation, or you can see the sulfates or sulfates also you can see. So this is what happens. Another thing, when you in detailed study of the chemical study of the composition of the material, because we are coming across so many Basmas nowadays, we are exactly testing the Basmas in our laboratory. We are having a number of parties we are getting. So actually, when we look at it, they are not clear-cut sulfides or oxides or sulfates. Any Basma. They are a complex material. They are a mixture. You can't take out one particular oxide, copper oxide, as a Basma. Otherwise, simple copper oxide is available in the market. You directly can use it. If you say it is a oxide, then you can use that. But it's not like that. Tamratna, although it has some copper oxide, but it is not equal to chemical copper oxide. It's totally different. What is it? It's a mixture of oxides, sulfides, sulfates. It is a mixture. It is not only in mixtures. In fact, we have found out that it's a metal complexes. Number of complexes are formed during the Basma formation, because we are treating that material with different organic materials. Plant material, plant juices are treated. We are in right from Shodhan, you can see. In Shodhan also we are using oil, taila, tatra, gomutra, kanji, kripa. Number of organic materials we are using. In Vasilikan also we are using mercury sulfide, that is kajali we are using, ingur we are using, sometimes we are using manchil. So many materials are used in preparation of food. So as a result of that, it cannot produce a clear-cut chemical compound. It is not a single chemical compound, single chemical entity is not there. It is a complex material, complex compound. It contains many metal complexes, and they are not simple metal complexes. They are organometal complexes, because so much organic material is used in preparation. You get number of organometal complexes. So that is much important. This makes a difference. That's why we can't use copper sulfate in place of tamra or your copper sulfide in place of tamra. So you have to use tamra like that. And in addition to that, there is not only chemical complexes, even the physics of that material also changes. We have observed that. We have in our laboratory, we have XRD machines, we have XRF, we have FPIR, so many equipment, advanced equipment we are having. That's why we are studying these materials in very depth. So in this end studies, it has been shown that not only the chemical composition becomes complex of the plasma, but even its physical structure also changes. Particularly the crystal shape changes. Different types of crystals are produced. There are 8 types of crystals. Shapes are there. So out of that, the number of crystal types are produced. For example, the crystal, there is change in this. There may be a monoclinic crystal, it may be a triclinic crystal, it may be a trigonal crystal, it may be a hexagonal crystal, it may be an orthorhombic crystal. So many crystal shapes are. This crystal shapes that makes a difference. I will show you how it makes a difference. So physically, there are chemically. I have told you the chemical changes are there. Chemical changes that becomes different organometallic complexes are produced because of this mechanical process. Whereas physically, the crystal shape changes. And the second important part which changes in physics is particle size. Particle size also changes. Particle size is also reduced. Now, many people talk about whether it is become nanoparticles. No, my friends. Of course, in Basmi current, nanoparticles are produced, but they are very small in quantity. Very. Sorry, there's no audio. I'm sorry, why it's happening. Sorry, I'll see why it is happening. Excuse me. It's full audio. It is actually. Just wait. Hello. Now, is it audible now?
Yes, yes, you are
Am I
audible.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With
Is it audible
headphones, it
now?
is much clearer. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And even the
I was
slides are
saying that not audible.
visible.
No problem. Visible, no, no. There is some problem with the sound is there. That is why it is getting problem. Okay. So now actually I am also able to listen to your voice. Okay. So I was talking about the particle size also. People always say that plasmas are nanoparticles. My friend, plasmas do produce nanoparticles, but they are very, very bigger in quantity. We have examined that. We exactly know how much plasma nanoparticles are produced. They are insignificant, totally insignificant. Plasma particles, the nanoparticles, we actually don't know exactly whether they make a difference at all. There is such a less than 0.5%, I would say. Less than 0.5%, so very less quantity is there. So in such a meager quantity, nanoparticles may not be having any effect if they are mixed in the plasma. If they are totally separated out, then they may be creating problems actually. But in the plasma formulation itself, you take, they are not at all nanoparticles. So they are invisible. So anyway, two things are there. There, of course, the micron size material is produced. Today, this is not a topic regarding the particle size and physical-chemical calculus. Today's topic is pharmacodynamics. But eventually, I came across this particular thought. That's why I'm telling you all this. So remove your mindset regarding the mindset that plasmas are not. No, plasmas are not nanomaterials. Remember very well. This is very important. Now, I was telling you that metal complexes, organometal complex. The use of metal complexes is not restricted or limited only to the Ayurveda. Remember very well. Metal complexes are very well used in even modern medicine as well. Modern medicine people also use metal complexes. They are not averse to use of metal complexes. They use them, and they're used in very large quantity, not that very limited quantity. They are clinically approved. They are clinically approved as well. Metal complexes, for example, which are the metal complexes which are frequently used are lithium, magnesium, aluminum, potassium, calcium. So many arsenic, cobalt, mercury, gold, platinum, so many used. The pharmacological function, how they act, remember very well. The most common example of metal complexes, use of metal complexes is regarding the cisplatin is one of the very famous drug which is used in cancer. It's a platinum complex, metal complex. Very frequently used. The gold, but the orophane, there is one drug of gold, which is frequently used in the treatment of the rheumatoid arthritis. So many nowadays they are using number of metal complexes in modern medicine as well. So, but remember very well, the pharmacology of the metal complexes is totally different pharmacology of non-metals, other drugs. Non-metals have different type of pharmacology. The action cannot be explained on the basis of usually the drugs act on the basis of receptor theory. The receptor accept that, either they prohibit the receptors or stimulate the receptor like that. But that is not the case in case of metal complexes. Metal complexes act totally differently. How does that? Let's see. The pharmacological function of material cannot be readily achieved by an organic molecule. Usually, whenever you talk about a drug, they consider about a molecule, single molecule. There's a new molecule is found. There's the organic molecule. They try to find out the actions of the organic molecule. New molecule. We have found a new molecule. The material complexes do not act on the basis of organic molecules. They have a different type of mechanism of action, totally different from the normal conventional drugs. Now, how do they act? That is where the importance of use of plasma lies, my friends. The action of Trikutu, Triphala, Tripa, Churna, and action of Bhasma, they are not on the same line. That means that's why I will also say, I would like to add to it, that Bhasma may not be acting on the basis of Rasa Pancham. You see, that is why whenever you describe the Bhasma, action of the Bhasma, we never talk about its Rasa Virya Vipak. Usually we don't talk. We directly talk about its drug action, anti-disease effect. It's karma we talk about. We talk more on karma whenever you are talking about the Bhasma. We never talk about Rasa or other Rasa Virya Vipak. So that's why this is very important. So Rasa Panchaka is not very much important with response to the use of metal Bhasma or Bhasma material. Now, how do they act? Let us see. Very interesting. This part is very much interesting, my friends. Mode of action of metal-based drugs. How do the metals act? There are 4 types of actions of Bhasma or any metal drug. I would say, whenever I am talking about metal, that means, of course, it is Bhasma material, metal Bhasma we are talking about. It is reference to Bhasma. What are all 4? First is extensive ligand exchange program. Now, what is ligand exchange? What is ligand first? You have to understand what is ligand. It's a chemical terminology. Ligand. Ligand means an ion or molecule donating a pair of electrons to the central metal atom to form a coordination complex. Ligand means joining. In short, it is joining. The exchange of joining. One molecule joins to another molecule. One molecule is left, another electron is taken out, another electron joins there. So this is called ligand exchange program. So this is pair of electrons it adjoins to the metal atom, and that by it produces a coordination complex which produces the action. So this is known as ligand exchange program, extensive ligand exchange. This is one of the mode of action. Another action is inhibition of enzymes. There comes the effect of Deepan and Pachan effect. This is an organic material complex which is capable of acting as a highly selective protein kinase inhibitor. It's actually protein kinase, very important. See, whenever you are talking about Bhasma or metals, proteins are most important because they usually bind with the proteins. Whenever you take any metal material, it binds to the proteins. So it binds to proteins. That's why it forms a complex. And particularly it acts on protein kinase, which acts as protein kinase inhibitor. It inhibits the action of protein kinase, thereby increasing another action. Third type of action is redox activation of drugs, oxidation reduction reaction. Either the Bhasma, the metal complex is oxidized or it is reduced. And because of as a result of this oxidation reduction reaction, some activity is produced. That is what of action. And fourth one is the catalytic action, which can be very easily compared with the Yoga-Vahi action. Of course, Yoga-Vahi is more advanced than simple catalytic action. Because whenever we talk about Yoga-Vahi is defined as Swakarma Avirodhena Swami Karyam Karoti Bhrityavat. That is the definition of Yoga-Vahi. What does it mean? Swakarma Avirodhena. That means without opposing own action, it performs the action of Swami Karyam Karoti. It performs the action of the drug with which it is associated as if it is an owner. It's an owner. Swami Karyam Karoti Bhrityavat. Swami, Malak, owner. Bhritya, local, servant. So it acts as a servant, but this servant is very clever. It performs the actions of the owner as well as it performs its own action. So karma avridar, without disturbing its own action, it performs the action of the owner also. This is known as yoga. So the catalyst means it's only increasing the action. But yoga is more than that. So this catalytic action is also one of the mechanisms of action of the. We'll see how all these actions are helpful in understanding the action of Basma with examples of one or two Basma. Now, some more explanation on the metal complexes. Metal complexes either deliver and release pharmacologically active ligands. I told you ligands. How does the ligand act? They release and deliver the pharmacologically. I told you. They form the organic ligands, the coordinating ligands. The coordinating ligands are released, they are delivered, and these ligands produce certain actions. These metal ions. Now, these metal ions, usually, whenever we talk about metals, they say metals are very toxic. They say, oh, copper is very toxic. Lead is very toxic. They always say like that. They are usually toxic entity in the metal-based drug. Usually, any metal drug is a toxic drug. You take any drug. Not that only in arsenic toxin later. Everybody is toxic, but the original metal ion is toxic. Not the metal complex which we are talking about. Metal complex is different than a metal ion. Remember, metal ion here acts only as a carrier delivering material. Metal ion is a carrier. It is what is delivering? The ion is combining as a complex, forming a complex. It's a part of the complex, and that complex is carried to a particular place. It is released to a particular place, which produces a biologically active ligand. This is very, very important. That means if you take individual metal ion, it is poison. It is toxic. But if you consider it as a ligand forming a complex, metal complex, which is a biologically active ligand, it is not toxic. It is a pharmacologically active material which is producing the pharmacological action which is useful for us. So that is what is metal complex. The metal ions, particularly non-essential metal ions, there are certain essential metals, certain non. They are used to deliver bioactive molecules. Ligands are bioactive molecules, you can say. They are bioactive. They may be also bioactive in their own right. They are bioactive in their own. For example, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide releasing and carbon monoxide releasing molecules. They are biologically active. They are ligands. They are releasing ligands. So they are biologically active. That means metal complexes are not toxic. Whereas single metal ion, they are toxic. This is very important. Now, as I told you, there is extensive ligand exchange whenever you are talking about metal trust. What is happened? This is a reaction in which one ligand in a complex ion is replaced by a different one. That means one ion is replaced, one electron is replaced by another electron. That is known as ligand exchange. So this ligand exchange is because there is extensive ligand exchange whenever a metal complex is used. That is why the number of pharmaceutical actions are produced. For example, the modern medicine example I will give you, anti-cancer drug platinum, cisplatin. It is a complex. Now this complex, there are two, cisplatin, oxaliplatin, or carboplatin, or gold-based anti-anesthetic drug, or aromatase. This is a metal complex. Now this metal complex is acting on the basis of extensive ligand exchange. That is why they are acting. The metal complex, not a single exchange. Now here, how this happens? This ligand exchange how this is decided which electron will be given, electron will be taken, which electron will be replaced. How does it happen? This is influenced by oxidation state of metal ion. Oxidation state of usually, if you see, the most important part of Bhasma, which is active in the form of Bhasma, is oxide. Loha Bhasma, ferric oxide, ferrous oxide, copper oxide, cupric oxide. They are very active. Usually oxides are produced with Bhasma. Even though we use sulfur, usually sulfur gets burned out completely and later on only oxide is. So this is very important. This oxidation state of the metal ions is important for ligand exchange. So whenever you are preparing Bhasma, we should ensure that oxides of Bhasma are obtained. One oxide, and not only that, there are different oxidation states. One oxidation state is less reactive or inactive and less toxic. That's one. Then another one. Usually less toxic and less reactive oxidation state of the material is usually introduced and administered in the patient, because we are worried about the toxic reaction of that particular material. After activation, even though it is less reactive whenever administered, after activation, either it will be oxidation or reduction after giving oxygen. It exerts the activity. As a result of oxidation or reduction, it will create an activity. In earlier stage, it was less reactive, it was less toxic, but later on it becomes very active. Even after some extent toxic as well, but that is risk benefiting ratio is always every drug is toxic in fact. How it is to be used, that depends. You have to make a decision. Another oxidation I told you, they be more reactive than the first one which was used. Now, usually metals are covalently bound to essential biomolecules. Usually what happens, when metals compounds are taken, these metals they get bound to proteins. For example, particularly DNA, proteins, enzymes, they are bound to these particular materials inside the body. And by binding, what happens? They inhibit their function. Usually it happens. They inhibit the function of these enzymes. DNA functions is reduced, protein function is reduced, enzyme function is stopped. And it may result to cell death as well because they are very reactive. How this happens? Through different cellular pathways. The cell death occurs because of the apoptosis, of necrosis. You were wondering if they are causing cell death, why we are using? Because sometimes we have to use the apoptosis and necrosis mechanisms also in the treatment, particularly in the treatment of cancer. We use that. Now let us see how it happens. Inhibition of enzymes. How it happens? Certain material-based drugs, they inhibit the enzymes. As a protein kinase, they are inhibited. How does they do? How do they do this particular inhibition? By mimicking substrates and metabolites. There are certain metabolites which are very similar to this particular material. So that by mimicking their actions of these substrates and metabolites, these metal ions or metal complexes, they inhibit the action of the enzymes. How do they? Without formation of direct covalent bonds, they don't form any bonds at all. They just inhibit them by mimicking. This is very important. No bonds are formed between central metal and the enzyme. Still, there is no bonding between the enzyme and metal. But still, they inhibit by mimicking these substrates. That is what happens. So, in short, for us, we have to understand that there is an inhibition of the enzymes. That is what happens because of the metal complexes. Now, third type of reaction is redox activation. Very important. This is very important wherever we are considering the treatment of the cancer patients. This is very important. See, what happens? What is a redox reaction? Redox reaction actually is oxidation reaction, reduction reaction. Definitely. It is induced by both oxidation and reduction process. There is either oxidation or reduction. Oxidation is the introduction of the oxygen molecule, reduction is taking out the oxygen. That is what is usually simple terms. So remember very well what is happening. Disease, wherever there is a disease. Disease environment, for example, there is cancer in the body. The cancerous part is there. That disease part, the environment of the disease, how is the environment part is more reductive in nature. There is a hypoxia in that particular part region. The oxygen levels are very low. There is a reductive environment is there. Whereas in this healthy tissue, there is an oxidative environment. But the only disease part is hypoxic in nature. That means they reduce oxygen, they are reductive in nature. And as soon as the drug enters that particular disease part, what happens? There is activity reduction, of course. The drug is reduced because there is a reductive environment. There is a hypoxia, no oxygen. Oxygen is very low. Because of that, the reduction of that particular material occurs. And there is no reduction enzyme, reduction. Because of the reduction of that material, the drug is activated, the metal complex is activated. And what it is doing? It is killing the cells. Which cells it is killing? The cells which are hypoxia. Which are those cells? They are cancer cells. So that is why these drugs are very important, very useful in treating the cancer because they specifically kill the cancer cells. The cancer cells are killed because of these bitter complexes. So that's what, for example, in tumors are hypoxia. There is hypoxia, reductive environment. The drug is activated by reduction, and because of that, it kills the cancer cells. In healthy cells, it doesn't kill the healthy cells. Why? Because healthy cells, there is an oxidative environment. Oxygen is more. That's why in more oxygen state, the drug doesn't act. When it is reduced, then it acts, and reductive environment is present in the cancer cells. That's why it selectively kills the cancer cells without affecting the healthy cells. That is why in chemotherapy, this is possible. It kills only the cancer cells. It doesn't affect the healthy cells. Whereas in radiotherapy, it doesn't happen. Radiotherapy in healthy cells are also killed. Whereas in chemotherapy, only disease cells are killed because there is a hypoxia, reducing environment is there, and this reduction environment activates the metal complexes. It reduces the metal complexes, which activates them to kill the cell. That is known as redox active drugs. That is the action of the drugs. Redox active metal complexes by oxidation. Another example is oxidation. Just like reduction enzyme, oxidation also activates certain metal complexes. This oxidation reaction relies on excessive presence of reactive oxygen species. Now, how does it happen? For oxygen, you require more oxygen. So there is one species known as reactive oxygen species, ROS. This ROS is very important. More oxygen is there. This species, it facilitates the activity. It facilitates the activity because the more oxygen is there. This is also seen as an anti-cancer activity. For example, low iron. Iron is activated by oxidation, particularly in the cancer. There is one drug known as furosemide, which is an iron complex. So this is also redox activation, which is activated because of the oxidation. Another example is anti-malarial drug candidates. Anti-malarial drugs also act because of the oxidation. So this is very important. This is selective, either oxidation or reduction. Some drugs, some metals act by oxidation. Some drugs are activated because of the reduction. In cancer, we can say both types of reactions. So which type of metal drug you are using, it determines the type of action. Now, another very important is metal complexes stabilize certain bioactive molecules. Certain bioactive molecules stabilize because of the pharmacokinetics. These are pharmacokinetics. That means metal polymolecules are stabilized, and then they are taken to the specific place, specific site of action, to the diseased tissue. Unless they are stabilized, they cannot be taken. Some are very labile. That's why as soon as the drug is given, it goes off. So it cannot happen. So you have to first stabilize them. For stabilization of that particular drug, the metal complexes are required. Example, a very common example I will give you, Haridra, curcumin. It contains an alkaloid known as curcumin. This curcumin is very good anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-tumor, and anti-metastatic. Curcumin is a very good drug. Haridra, we know that. We know they show the drug. We know that. Primigna, Shotahara, so many actions are there in it. Curcumin is the most active ingredient in that. But this curcumin, even clinically very effective, but it can't be used very frequently because it is limited by its high metabolism rate. Immediately it is metabolized. As soon as you take it, it goes off. Light sensitivity, solubility issues, bioavailability and rapid clearance. As soon as it is taken, this clear. It doesn't stay inside the body. That's why we can't see the action of the Afidra so intensively as we require. But if you coordinate metal ions with the curcumin, non-essential metals, the metal ions are combined. That means metal Haridra and Dhatu complex is prepared. Bhasma complex is prepared. What will happen? It will overcome the Haridra. That means it will stabilize that particular metal, stabilize the Haridra. And because of that, it ensures the controlled release of bioactive compound where it is needed. Slowly it is released and it will remain in the body for a long time and to show its action. So instead of giving simple Haridra or simple Bhasma, Bhasma including Haridra, if it is given, then it will have more active role. Its mechanism, the pharmacological action will be increased many folds if any give any metal complex with the Haridra, particularly the low. The last action of metal complex is catalytic metal-based drugs. There are two main categories: catalytic action, yoga in short. First, a drug mimicking catalytic process of naturally occurring metal enzymes, and another a drugs containing non-essential metals catalyzing abiotic transformation for which there are no enzymatic counterparts. There are two types of actions of drugs. Now let us see how this occurs. One is certain level of content. It can further potentially transform a large molecular excess of a biomolecular substrate. When you combine these particular drugs with a active drug, metal complex with an active drug, what will happen? We say whenever Rasaushadhis are combined, they act on very low, Alpamatra Upayogika, Rasaushadhis. That's why we combine in herbal drugs with the Rasaushadhis. Here the same thing is there. When you combine any drug with the metal complex, what will happen? The dose will be lower, very low doses. Very low doses of drugs will be required for attaining the desired therapeutic. That's what we are saying. Yoga or Rasaushadhi. Because if you combine any Rasaushadhi with any herbal drug, the dose of the drug will be reduced to many folds. In a very low dose, it will be therapeutically effective. And because the drug is the effect is reduced, the dose is reduced, naturally the side effects or adverse effects will also be reduced because the dose of the drug will be reduced. That is why this is the action, catalytic action of the metal drug. So metal drugs are very active. They help in reducing the dose of the drug. One important action of the metal drugs I am going to explain now. Before that, we have to understand certain things. First thing which is important is the superoxide. Now, what is superoxide? The superoxide is it is regulated by superoxide distance. There is one molecule known as superoxide. It is regulated by one material known as superoxide distance, SOD. It is partitioning of the superoxide radical by SOD into molecular oxygen on hydrogen peroxide. That means because of the SOD, the superoxide will be broken and it will be into an oxygen or hydrogen peroxide molecule. Usually, there is a failure of detoxification of SOD activity due to overproduction of the radical superoxide. That is known as oxidative stress. We always say that inflammation is there, oxidative stress is increased. That's why we use antioxidant materials. Why? Whenever there is increased levels of superoxide, thereby we use antioxidants. Superoxide dismutase levels are reduced, activity is reduced, and that's why superoxide will